Fozia Murtaza ji is a stress prevention strategist and certified facilitator for mental health and wellness recovery action plan workshop. So as far I know, I knew her. On top of that, she is very passionate and committed to her profession. So Fozia ji, we are very excited to hear from you about to change habits, because बहुत सारे सैशन ਅਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਲਏ ਨੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ, ਬਟ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਕੁ ਖੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ, ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਚਾਨਣਾ ਪਾਓ ਇਸ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਤੇ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਂਡ ਵੈਲਕਮ।
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sujichi, and everyone at MWC for having me. It's an honor to be here, and I'm so excited myself. So let's get started talking about habits. First, I want to ask, how many of you have habits that you would like to change? I know I do. Yes. How many of you have attempted to build good habits, but then life happens and then you didn't continue? Anyone? Okay. And what are some of the areas in your life that you've tried to build new habits? Anyone want to share?
ਮੈਂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਫੌਜੀ।
Okay.
ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਹੈਬਿਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਡਿਸਟਰੈਕਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਛੇਤੀ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ।
Okay.
ਤੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੇਰ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਟਰਾਈ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਮੈਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ, ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਇਧਰੋਂ ਉਧਰੋਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਡਿਸਟਰੈਕਟ ਨਾ ਕਰੇ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਤਾਂ ਕਾਫੀ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਵੀ ਅਟੈਂਡ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੇ, ਬਟ ਫਿਰ ਲਾਈਕ ਇਹ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਹੈਬਿਟ ਬਣੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਹੈਲਪ ਮੰਗ ਲਈ, ਕੋਈ ਬੇਟਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਬੇਟੀ ਆ ਗਈ, ਜਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਰਿਸ਼ਤੇਦਾਰ ਨੇ ਫੋਨ ਕਰਤਾ, ਹਨਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਉਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਹੋ ਗਈ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਬਟ ਹੁਣ ਕੀ ਆ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਹੁਣ ਥੋੜਾ ਕਾਫੀ ਟਾਈਮ ਲੱਗ ਗਿਆ ਹਨਾ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਵਰਕ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੈਲਨੈਸ ਰਿਕਵਰੀ ਐਕਸ਼ਨ ਪਲਾਨ ਵਰਕਸ਼ਾਪ ਅਟੈਂਡ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਯਾਦ ਹੈ ਹਨਾ, ਦਿਖਾਉਂਦੀ ਹਾਂ 1 ਮਿੰਟ। ਬਟ ਹੈਬਿਟ ਅਜੇ ਵੀ ਚੇਂਜ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਆਹ ਦੇਖੋ, ਦਿਸਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ? ਮੈਂ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ, change it, check it and catch it.
Yes.
ਹਾਂ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਇੱਕ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਕੱਲ ਦੀ। ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ ਥੋੜੀ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਅਸਾਈਨਮੈਂਟ ਤੇ ਵਰਕ ਕਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ, ਤੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਮੇਰੇ ਚਾਚਾ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਪੋਤੇ ਦੇ ਨਾ ਸੱਪ ਲੜ ਗਿਆ। ਬਟ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਠੀਕ ਆ। ਹਨ ਉਹ ਖੇਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਹਨਾ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਘਰ ਖੇਤ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ। ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਬੰਨ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ, ਏਦਾਂ ਬੰਨਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੋਇਜ਼ਨ ਚੜ ਗਈ, ਉਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਹਸਪੀਟਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਗਾ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆਇਆ, ਇੱਧਰੋਂ ਫੋਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਲੱਗਦੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਤਿੰਨੋਂ ਹੀ ਸਿਸਟਰ ਬੜਾ ਨੱਠ ਭੱਜ ਕਰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਚਾਚੇ ਦਾ ਬੇਟਾ, ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਪਲੇ ਆ ਹਨਾ, ਇਕੱਠੇ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਬੇਟਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਏਦਾਂ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ, ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਸੀ। ਲਾਈਕ ਪੂਰੀ ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਲ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅਟੈਚਮੈਂਟ ਸੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਉਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਚਲੀ ਗਈ। ਬਟ ਜਦੋਂ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਅਸਾਈਨਮੈਂਟ ਭੇਜਣੀ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਲਾਈਕ ਕਾਫੀ 2-3 ਵਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਏਦਾਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਫੋਨ ਤੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੇ। ਬਟ ਆਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੇਰੀ ਲਿਖ ਕੇ ਰੱਖੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰਿਮਾਈਂਡ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਕਿ ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਏਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ, ਥੋੜੀ ਪੈਸੇ ਵਾਈਜ਼ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ, ਰਾਈਟ। ਦੁਖੀ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਈਕ ਰੈਕੋਗਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਉਂ ਪਾਗਲ ਬਣ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਹਨਾ, ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ। ਜੋ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਦੋ, ਜੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਵਰੀ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ, ਉਹ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਹੱਥ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੇ ਠੀਕ ਹੋਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਜੋ ਵੀ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਨਹਾ ਧੋ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਅਸਾਈਨਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨ ਬੈਠ ਗਈ, ਪੂਰੀ ਕਰਤੀ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜ਼ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਵਰਕ ਕਰ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ।
Okay, So a lot going on. Sounds like maybe healthy boundaries need to be honored. And I totally understand what you're talking about with the distractions. Anybody else have anything that they want to share? Like any area in your life where you've tried to change your habits and you've maybe had some struggles or you haven't been successful? Yes, go. Were you going to say something, Verinderji? Go ahead.
Yeah, fear.
That's one thing. I am very, you can say, hot-tempered.
Hot-tempered?
I lose my temper very soon.
Okay.
And I try many times, but I'm unable to do.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing. And sorry, Verinderji, go ahead.
Yeah, fear.
Fear? Okay.
Yeah, I had fear of dogs, but now I'm improving.
Okay. Awesome. All right.
Well,
So-
I want to say something.
Yes, go ahead.
If I have something,
Mhm.
I want to keep it inside. It keeps on staying inside forever and ever and ever. Amen.
Like it's
I don't
something
let
that's-
it go. I don't talk to anybody about it, but I just keep thinking and in myself. That's
Okay.
the
So
world.
it's-
The world should not know.
Okay, so I just want to understand, it's something that you want to keep as a secret, or is it something that's bothering you and you're not able to speak up about it?
Well, it bothers me too, but I don't want to tell the world.
Okay. Okay, I get
There
that.
are things that you don't want to tell somebody. Even if you're a bosom friend, you don't want to tell.
Yeah, and we're all entitled to our privacy and keeping our secrets, and I respect that. But what we're talking about is if there's any area in your life where you've tried to change your habit and you haven't been successful in changing the habit.
Well, no, I'm successful in keeping it by myself and
Okay.
instead of crying over it.
Okay, that's good. Uzma, go ahead.
So two habits. One, most of you are aware that my sleep pattern is not regular as I try to, but no, I'm good the way I am. I sleep when I want to, and that's it. It's not that 10 o'clock I have to sleep. No, it won't work on me. So I know if I'm tired, so two things, food and sleep on demand.
Okay.
If I feel tired, I will sleep. If I'm hungry, I will eat. That's it.
Okay.
So I want to, I don't want to confine myself within time frames. So that is one thing. I tried, but I couldn't. And secondly, it's a digital world. So everything is in my calendar, Google Calendar, this. But finally, this works the best for me nowadays. I want to see my schedule and everything. So back to old habit.
Old school. I get it.
Yeah. Like this is the best thing.
Yeah, I have a stack of journals. So I totally get that. I relate to that. But is there anything that you mentioned where you want to make changes and you haven't been successful in making the changes? Or are you happy with how you are?
So I tried for my sleep pattern. I tried.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I said, no, I can't do that.
And it's working for you how it is right now?
Yeah. My old habits are, I'm good with that.
Okay, so that's good. That's fine. So we're talking mostly specifically about any areas or any habits that we've tried to change, but we weren't able to. And we want to understand why. But before we go into why that happens and what we can do about it, we have to first understand what is a habit. So anyone, what do you think? What is a habit? Who wants to try to answer that?
We do that thing again and again. We try to avoid it, even that it happens.
Okay, something that you do again and again, even when you try to avoid it, it still happens. Awesome. Yeah. Anyone else? No?
Yeah, same thing ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਂਟੀ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਰੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਵਾਰ-ਵਾਰ.
Okay, it's like you have no control over it.
ਹਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਯਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ
Okay.
ਬਾਰੇ।
Awesome. So the dictionary tells us that a habit is a usual manner of behavior. A behavior pattern acquired by frequent repetition that has become nearly or completely involuntary. Well, that explains a lot, right? Because how many times have we wanted to make a change in some area of our life, and we find ourselves in the same place, we're doing the same thing the same way over and over again, and we ask ourselves, like, why do I keep ending up in this same place? Whether it's with our relationships or our finances or getting healthy, our school, exams, deadlines, parenting, setting boundaries, Surjiti, you know, the list goes on and on. And maybe, like you're saying, we even recognize the actions are unhealthy, but we're stuck in our habits and we can't help it, right?
Yeah.
But what if I told you your habit, this automatic way of being, was a choice? That was tough for me to get, because then it was like, you mean I keep choosing the same thing over and over for myself? I'm not happy, but I keep choosing it? Then I thought, what would happen if in that moment, instead of following through on that automatic response, I chose a different way to respond or a different action? So what do you think would happen? How would that impact your life? Who wants to answer that?
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ ਇਹਦਾ ਆਨਸਰ।
Well, no, like, I mean, just think about it. So you're having difficulty with honoring your boundaries, and you're doing your work, and you have an assignment that needs to be done. And I understand, like, wait, this situation was an emergency situation. You got contacted. You had to answer that call. That's different. But for someone to just knock on your door and ask you what's for dinner, and then you get up to go make dinner, but you have an assignment, right? So if you were able to honor that boundary that you set for yourself, how would it impact your life if you were, instead of drop everything that you're doing and go and do for someone else, you said, oh, okay, let me finish what I'm doing and I'll be with you, right? But you complete your job first, whatever it is that you're doing. How would that be for you? Would that impact your life?
Yes.
Right? And
Yeah.
and maybe you would be more efficient with getting your work done, right?
Yeah.
It happens in all areas of our life. So the question then arises, how do we choose differently, right? If this is an automatic thing, but we're choosing it, how do we choose differently? So the first thing we have to ask is, how do we develop our habits? I mean, how did we become this way? So I've learned that our habits are influenced at an early age and by our previous experiences. So for example, like our upbringing, our environment, maybe school, our teachers, our culture, our religious beliefs, our family values, the way we interpret situations, which, by the way, is going to be different for everyone. And then maybe as a child, this was a coping mechanism for me that I used to deal with situations at that time, and maybe it served me at that time. But as an adult, maybe the same coping mechanism isn't serving me anymore. In fact, over time, this unhelpful thinking and behavior pattern is what becomes our automatic way of being, our habits. So for example, the what if thinking, right? How many people here are what if thinkers? When something happens, then automatically the thoughts in our mind is, what if this happened? And what if that happened, right? And it can lead us to imagining catastrophic situations and even panic attacks. But I remembered that this is a learned way of thinking, and it can be changed because our thoughts are determined by our interpretation. And so our thoughts are not reality, right? So how do we change a lifetime of thinking a certain way? So I'll just give you my own example. For me, at a very young age, the habits that I sort of adapted as a coping mechanism was, first of all, the situation for me was at a very young age, I became a caregiver for my younger siblings because both of my parents worked outside the home. And this is something naturally that would happen, is that the eldest child got the responsibility of taking care of the younger siblings. And so what that developed for me were certain behaviors where I would take on, as a child, adult responsibilities. But as I grew and as I developed, I became that go-to person that was always doing for other people. And because as a child, it was something that was a responsibility I had just as the dynamics within the household, I felt that I wasn't able to really express what I needed as a child growing up. And so that habit of not being able to express myself or ask for what I needed was a habit that perhaps helped me as a child because it's the way that I just coped dealing with the situation. But as I grew and became an adult, the habit of not asking for what it is that I want or desire for myself is not a very healthy habit. It's quite unhealthy, in fact. And so the way to change it, now that I realized that I could change my habits, it was about what's the process? How do I go about changing it? So first, we have to want to change it, right? So for example, Uzma tried changing it and she realized that the habits that she has, they work for her. She doesn't want to change them. Maybe she wakes up one day and says, you know, this going to bed whenever and waking up whenever is really taking a toll on my health and I need to make some changes. And at that time, she'll be ready to make the change. But until then, no one can tell her she needs to make the change because no one can tell us for our own wellness. That's our responsibility, right? So Sujichi, if you have boundaries that you've put in place, you have to respect those boundaries in order for other people to respect them. But if you are happy with the way things are, that you're doing something and you get interrupted and you stop and you go off and you do whatever, and then you find the free time to come back and do what you were doing, if that works for you, that's fine. If it doesn't work for you, the first thing to changing it is wanting to change it. Does that kind of make sense, guys?
Yeah, like it takes to kind of, it gives me stress. It's
Okay.
like my own things not done on time keep piling up, right? It gives me stress. Then it realizes me I need to change.
Okay. So sometimes we can realize that we need to change, we need to make a change, but we're still not ready to make the change because change is hard, right? And so keeping things the way they are, we're familiar with it. It may be a challenge, but it's a challenge that we're familiar with, and it's a challenge that we've been dealing with. Making the change would require a different set of challenges that are unfamiliar. And so we have a lot of people that are in a situation, whether it's with your relationship or the way you handle your finances or, you know, anything really in your life, where you know that you need to make a change, but you're not ready to go through the steps required because we like to hold on to what we're familiar with, even though it may cause us discomfort. And when we go to make changes, we think that's going to also be discomfort, but that's a discomfort that I'm not familiar with, that I don't know. So it's easier to pick so you're choosing your pain, really. You want to choose the pain that you're familiar with, or do you want to take the chance of making changes, right? So the first step, like I said, is we have to want the change. Being aware of it, yes, because that's when you can make the step to actually make the change. But before even, that, you have to want it. You have to say, I don't want to be here where I am anymore. I want to be somewhere else. And then you go about how to get there. So the second thing is being aware of where we are when we're in that cycle. And then we can use a process that Surjiti showed us, which is called catch it, check it, change it, to actually make the change. Yeah. So when someone is late coming home, now that I know this, when someone's late coming home and my thoughts go to what if, and I think all these catastrophes, I can actually challenge those thoughts and interrupt the pattern of my automatic thinking, and I can replace it with thoughts that are more supportive.
Yeah, Fozia,
Yes.
I'm thinking that how quickly we have changed our habit after pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whenever I sit in the car, automatically I'll clean my hands.
Yes.
Right? It wasn't there before.
Right.
Collectively, we have, because of our wellness was at
Mm-hmm.
stake, and things, or mask, it was imposed on us. So then I was thinking, yes, we can change our habits. We can adapt new habits.
Yeah.
And very quickly we did it.
And very quickly we did it. Absolutely. And, there are those, and that when we had to start wearing a mask and we had to always, sanitize, that were inconvenienced by it, right? And thought, this is crazy. How long am I going to keep this up? But when we look at it, and that's what I'm talking about, right? So it's uncomfortable. It's something that we're not familiar with. But now as we move forward and we can see the benefit of it, we're more openly adopting it, right? We're saying, okay, I can wear the mask. Okay, I can sanitize, right? So this is what I'm talking about. It is possible to change our habits, but we have to really think about the mindset behind it. Where did the negative or the unhealthy habits come from, and how can we go about changing it? So if I have the habit of that what if catastrophizing thinking, then I have to interrupt that thought pattern, the process, and I have to challenge it and replace it, right? So another question, anyone here have a habit of putting things off, like tasks that you put off over and over again? Anyone? I know I put things off. Anyone else? Yeah, I see some people nodding. Well, you're not alone. In fact, many people procrastinate to some degree, but some people procrastinate to the point that it even stops them from fulfilling their potential and disrupts their life and their relationships, right? So how can we overcome it? Using the catch it, check it, change it process. So one, catch it. Recognize that you're procrastinating. Let's just use procrastinating as an example. So recognize that you're procrastinating and really be honest with yourself, guys, because remember, you cannot change something unless you accept it. Okay? 2, check it. Why are you procrastinating? So are you disorganized? Maybe the job is unpleasant, or do you feel overwhelmed by the task? Maybe some people are perfectionists, or maybe you're unable to make a decision because you're afraid of making the wrong decision. So you have to really, check it and then challenge it. So then that's how we can move towards changing it. And how can we change it? We have to put in place anti-procrastination strategies. And this can be applied to anything that you want to change, any habit. So once you understand it, once you challenge it, and then you can choose how to change it. So for example, promise yourself a reward for completing the task, right? Maybe ask someone to check up on you. Make a list of all the cons for not doing the task. That might motivate you to get it done. Block off your time so that you stay focused and you just pay attention to one task at a time. You know, maybe you're a multitasker and you just have way too much on your plate at one time, Surjichi, right? So we just want to maybe block off the time
But
and focus.
Fozia, not only me, like as I observe, as ladies, right? We work 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then we spend 3 to 4 hours in kitchen. And then we have to take care our children or our relative, like in evening time, someone calling, or like, we have to keep it up with them. And as Uzma ji said, prior to start this session, we were talking more like we are going to aging side now. Morning time, our body says it's hard to get up, right? So, but still, we're doing everything as it is.
Okay. So, sorry, were you going to add something?
Yes. Let me organize my thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. So the question comes in my mind. Like also we are taking sessions, listening from many wise people who has experience of changing habits, right? But the thing is, without taking action, without doing an like small goal or something like that. Like I just want to give you my example. Like I'm also going to aging side now, right? And getting some health problems. So number one, my job is very flexible, right? So I can reduce my hours from 8 hours to 6 hours. Some people, they cannot do. But like we have to work in the kitchen. So we can change, we can bring some change on that part, right? But it's not like, it's easy to talk again, easy to talk, but not easy to implement on continued basis.
Okay.
So give some strategies for that.
Okay. So we'll get there. We'll get there, right? I just want to finish this example with like the procrastination, just so we can understand this whole catch it, check it, change it. So we first thing we said was we need to catch it, recognize that you're procrastinating, be honest with yourself, right? Second thing was to check it. So we question, why are we procrastinating? And maybe we find that we've got you know, we're unable to make a decision. Maybe we aren't informed, or maybe we're doing too many things, so we're afraid of making the wrong decision. Then we have to change it. So when we change it, it's really about looking at like, what's the reward for getting this done? What's the payoff? What am I getting? So if you block off your time and you're able to focus on just one task at a time, chances are what you need to get done, you'll get done. But you have to honor that block of time that you put for yourself, right? Maybe you have to ask for help because you don't have the correct information to get this done. Or maybe what you need to do is get organized and have a to-do list, right? Or just break it up into smaller doable tasks. So in what you're saying, Sujiji, and I totally understand, as women, we have a lot on our plates all the time. We are, you know, conditioned to be giving and doing for everyone else. At the end of the day, there usually is no time left for ourselves. And so we get put on the back burner. But the question again comes, whose responsibility is our wellness? It's our responsibility. And right now you're like, if I continue to give and give and give to my family and my cup is empty and I'm just giving and they're receiving, they're expecting and I'm giving and they're expecting, and my cup is empty, I'm on my way for, that's heading towards burnout. And if I have burnout and if I take 3 days off, guess what? Everyone else is going to still manage. I'm out of the picture because I'm like instructed by my doctor to take time off. I'm in bed for 3 days. The house is still going to run. People are still going to eat. Work is still going to get done. People are going to know how to get dressed and get themselves to school or to work. This is what we have to understand, is that we have a habit of doing for everyone else. I had that habit. I grew up with that habit. We have to teach the people that we're doing for that we also have to do for ourselves, because self-care is not a luxury, it's a necessity. And we have to teach our family how to participate in the activities that need to be done in order for the household to run. So if you have children, maybe they can take care of making dinner. If not, maybe they can take care of cleaning up after dinner, right? If you have an assignment that you're doing, you can let them know from this time to this time, unless the house is on fire and there's an emergency, I am not to be disturbed. And after that time, then you have family time and you're going to be there with them. But we have to set those boundaries. We have to put things in place so that we start to practice self-care, so that we start to take the responsibility of ourselves, because no one else is going to step in and say, wait, you've been doing everything for everyone. Now you sit and let us do for you. No one can take care of you the way you can take care of you. No one can take care of me the way I take care of me. That's my responsibility. But the thing is that these are all habits. These are, ways that we've taught ourselves to be with ourselves, and we've taught others to be with us. Our habits are deeply ingrained patterns of behavior. That means that we won't be able to change them overnight, right? But we can change them over time. And it will take a lot of practice. So I commend you for having that catch it, check it, change it process up there on your board. But it's going to take a lot of practice, because we have to practice that ourselves before we can teach it to the people in our life, right? And some days are going to be easier. Some days are going to be more challenging. But I want you to remember, always be compassionate and be patient with yourself. We can be compassionate and patient with other people. We have to be compassionate and patient with ourselves. And take time to appreciate and celebrate your successes. So even if you were to do, you honor your schedule maybe most of the time, but not all of the time, celebrate the times that you do, right? Because it's practice, and it's going to take time for us to learn this new way of being, right? So how's everyone doing so far? Usma, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there is a comment on Facebook Live from Fozia Murtaza. We require very strong willpower to change our force of habit. And then he said, Bilkul ji, very good point. I agree. So people are listening, watching on Facebook Live. Okay. And I'm glad that
Usma, sorry to interrupt. मुता जी ने मुझे भी ईमेल भेजी थी कि मुझे लिंक भेजो, तो आई लेट हर, मैंने उनको ऑलरेडी बताया कि ये वुमेन ओनली है, तो इसलिए फिर I didn't send you.
ठीक है. Okay. Let him enjoy on Facebook.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for everybody watching on Facebook, I mean, go ahead, you can type in your comments and we'll try to get to them. And if you're watching this on replay, comment #replay. So we know you've watched it on replay, just to let us know. Okay, so why is it important? I mean, why even change our unhelpful habits? Well, we all
One thing
understand. Yeah,
Fozia,
go ahead.
listen, I want to change my habit of just
Okay.
losing my temper.
Okay.
But I am sitting very happy that something happened like this, that suddenly I again I lose my temper, and again the same thing happened.
Okay.
And that happened suddenly. You are not prepared for this. Then what should we do?
Okay, so before you actually lose your temper, how are you feeling in the moment? Because something is happening that's building up, and then you get to that tipping point, and then all of a sudden it's too late. So do you notice what happens before? Is it a specific person? Is it a specific topic of, conversation that's happening? Something happens that triggers that in you, and you end up losing your temper. And so remember, I said the first thing that we need to do is we have to catch it. So we have to be aware of our patterns. We have to be aware of our habits. So I know if I have certain type of conversations with people that I'm going to disagree, so I'll avoid those conversations. But you have to know yourself, whatever is going on. Once you realize, okay, well, this is the person that makes me lose my temper, then you can limit your conversation with that person, or you have control over the type of conversation you have with that person. So for example, if I have a conversation with someone, hypothetical, say I have an Aunt Emily, and she doesn't believe in mental health issues. Okay, she says there's no such thing as mental health issues. Well, Aunt Emily and we don't see the same way. Our thinking does not align on this, but Aunt Emily is someone that I'm not able to completely cut out because I might run into her at family gatherings. At the same time, one thing I know about Aunt Emily is that she's a great baker, and she has the best recipes. So anytime that I encounter Aunt Emily in a gathering or even one-on-one, I'm going to ask her about cooking tips. I'm going to ask her about her banana bread recipe. I'm going to keep the conversation to something that I know we're not going to have a conflict, right? If Aunt Emily brings up something that I don't agree with, I will excuse myself from that conversation, and I'll walk away, because we have the right to do that. We don't think that we have the right to do that, but we have the right to tell people, I'm not comfortable having this conversation, and walking away from that. But those are things, sorry, go ahead.
If you meet me, you will never find me. I'm very peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And I never lose my temper among my friends or relatives, but it happens in my house sometimes.
Yeah, and the other thing we really have to look at our own patterns, because it's different for everyone. I mean, I know a lot of people that lose their temper just like this. A lot of times it can be, remember I said that our thoughts, they're interpreting the situation. So the way that you interpret the situation is going to influence the thoughts that you have. The thoughts that you have are going to influence your mood and your behavior. So I'll give you another example. Say there's bumper to bumper traffic, and there's a person sitting in a car, and they're just really frustrated because the traffic is not moving, and they keep saying, why did I take this route? How do I get out of here? Just really, really getting anxious and frustrated because the traffic is not moving and they feel stuck. Then in another car, same traffic, you have another person, and they say, okay, well, it doesn't look like the traffic's going anywhere. They put in a CD and they start listening to music, or they decide that, okay, I'm just going to do some breathing exercises, or they listen to a podcast, something else, right? Both people are in the exact same situation. They're both stuck in that same bumper to bumper traffic, But one person interpreted as like, I'm stuck, how do I get out of here? And that's causing that frustration and anger. The other person is being more flexible and saying, well, this is a situation that I cannot control. And so I might as well just use the time for whatever I can within my control. Speaking of control, that's another thing that maybe you need to look at. Do you lose your temper when you feel like you're out of control? Because for some people, if they feel like they're out of control of a situation or of another person, they may lose their temper. And so you want to be careful of, you know, if that's the situation, because we don't have control over anyone or anything other than ourselves and the way we choose to respond to situations. So there's a lot of things that, you know, could be behind it. But again, I can't pinpoint, because you yourself will have to figure out what it is that's going on for you right before you lose your temper.
Yeah, okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it will.
Okay, okay. So I was saying,
I always try, but sometimes this happens.
yeah, no, that's great. And you know, when you feel like something is happening and you, because we have that feeling, right? Before the action actually happens or before we react a certain way, we have that feeling. So we know it's coming. We have a moment where we can choose. It's like, I always say, just, you know, take that moment, just practice the pause. If you pause in that moment and say, okay, there's my automatic way of being. It's going to cause me to lose my temper. I see it. I'm aware of it. I recognize it, but I'm not choosing it. I'm going to choose something else. If you do that, as difficult as it will be, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And in that moment, that pause, you can actually choose different and interrupt that thought pattern, interrupt the pattern of our automatic behavior.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we were saying why it's important and why do we even want to change our unhelpful habits? You know, aside from the fact it's obvious that they're unhelpful. So we all understand the importance of family and friends for external support, right? But what do we rely on when it comes to internal support? Healthy habits help us stabilize in stressful times, and they help us to recover from hard times. So, but if we don't have healthy habitual behaviors, our bad habits can actually deepen negative spirals. And self-discipline is what we do for ourselves to gain control of our lives and become who we desire to be. Okay, so I want you guys to think of, sorry, was someone jumping out? Okay, okay. So I want you guys to think of your habits like the roots of a tree. If one of the roots dies, the other roots support the tree. Even if the tree is skinny and tall, the roots, they spread out and they give the tree a wide and stable base. That's what our habits can do for us. It's through our habits that we can change and design our life. Building habits that support each other, that's what can work towards designing our life. So let's say part of living healthy for you is it includes working out every morning before breakfast. That's a great habit, but it can be challenging to stay motivated and committed to that every day, right? You guys agree? So what if we created mini habits to support the habit of working out every day? What would that look like? Maybe a mini habit would be sleeping and waking up earlier. Maybe a mini habit would be putting your workout clothes, you know, the night before, putting them out. Maybe a mini habit might be putting your yoga mat out or putting your walking shoes out, you know, or having water or your workout drink ready for you. So when you wake up in the morning and you see everything ready for you to work out, what do you think you'll do? Work out, right? Because once everything is there for you, even if you woke up and you didn't feel like it, you see everything, you're going to feel a little bit like, oh, I should work out. And you might push yourself. So the likelihood of you working out goes up, right? Mini habits are small things that you can do to help to form life-changing habits, right? Because we want to design our life. We want to make these huge changes in our life and have really good habits, but sometimes it's hard to stay committed to those big habits. So if we put these little mini habits in place that support that change, those mini habits will be like the supporting roots of the tree. They're simple and they're repeated over time and they become routine. And our routines are designed to keep us consistent, right? And so as a result, we find ourselves enhancing our life and cultivating more pleasure into our life. So that's all I got, guys. Any questions?
No. I'll try. We will try to change ourselves.
Yeah, it's not easy. I will be the first one to tell you, it's not easy to change our habits and to establish new habits. But if you use the practice of those little mini habits that I'm talking about, then it makes that really big habit easier, right? If you start to realize, like, okay, I'm recognizing my patterns and this is what I'm feeling before I have this automatic response, then it becomes easier to catch yourself. And the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions?
ਨਹੀਂ ਫੌਜੀਆ ਜੀ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਹੈ
Okay.
ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਐਕਸਰਸਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਨਾ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਪ੍ਰਪੇਅਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਦੈਨ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਮੋਟੀਵੇਟ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ
Absolutely.
ਹਾਂ
Yeah, go ahead.
ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਆਪਣਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੈਲਫ ਕੇਅਰ ਵਾਲਾ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਰਾਈਟ ਮੈਂ ਇੰਡੀਵਿਜੂਅਲ ਲੇਡੀਜ਼ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਐਕਸਰਸਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਾਈਟ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਰਜੀਤ ਸੱਚ ਦੱਸੀ ਨਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਰਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਕਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਕਿ ਝੂਠ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ
Okay.
ਹਾਂ ਲਾਈਕ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਰਿਅਲਾਈਜ਼ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਹੈਬਿਟਸ ਹੀ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਕਿ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊਸਲੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੀ ਚੱਲੋ ਦੂਸਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਰਾਈਟ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੈਲਫ ਕੇਅਰ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਟਾਈਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ
Yeah, because it's not our habit.
Yeah,
we haven't established it.
ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਟਜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਿਖਾਈ ਆ ਕਿ catch it, check it, and change it. Right? It's not very easy to apply.
It takes practice. Yeah.
It needs, it takes practice.
Yeah.
The same thing, एक मैं example दे, sorry.
Go ahead.
Example देनी है diabetes दी, है ना? ਇੰਨੀ education ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ, ਇੰਨੀ funding ਆ ਰਹੀ ਆ, right? लेकिन sorry मेरी थोड़ी language बड़ी straight forward है कि पढ़े लिखे मूर्ख होंगे ਪੜਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਇਹ ਕਿਤੇ ਕਿ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਰਾਈਟ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਐਕਸਰਸਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ ਡਾਇਬਟੀਜ਼ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਘੱਟ ਮਿੱਠਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਰਾਈਟ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ੂਗਰ ਘੱਟ ਹੋਵੇ ਰੋਟੀ ਘੱਟ ਖਾਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਉਹ ਹਨਾ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਰਾਈਟ ਪਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਰੈਕੋਗਨਾਈਜ਼ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਈਟ but because ਇੰਨੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ education ਹੈਗੀ ਨੇ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਰਾਈਟ I think ਕਿ ਉਹ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ catch it ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਇੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਕਰਨੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਚੇਂਜ ਆਪਣੇ ਚ ਚੇਂਜ ਲਿਆਉਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ। ਤੇ ਅਗੇਨ ਕਿ ਇਟਸ ਨਾਟ ਈਜ਼ੀ। ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੀ ਸੁਜੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੈਗੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਚ ਕਿ ਡਾਇਬਟੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਹੈਬਿਟ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਜਾਣ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੇਂਜ ਆ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ? ਆਈ ਨੋ ਅਗੇਨ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਪੜ੍ਹੇ ਲਿਖੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੋਲ ਬਹੁਤ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਚੇਂਜ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਕੁ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਆ?
Remember I said
We are
that
lacking on that.
yeah, but change can only come when we want it and when we're willing to give up what we're comfortable with in order to choose something different. That's when we can be committed to change, right? So let's see. Okay, for example, like women, sorry, go ahead, Hafsa, you were going to jump out?
No, when you finish, then I will share my experience.
Okay, no, I was going to give a different example, but you can go ahead.
Okay, तो आपने अगर अपनी कोई भी हैबिट चेंज करनी है ना, एक्सरसाइज है, रूटीन है, उसके लिए सबसे पहले मैं ये अपना जाती एक्सपीरियंस बता रही हूँ। उसके लिए आपने पहले मेंटली प्रिपेयर होना है। वो मेंटली तौर पे आप जब तक स्ट्रांग नहीं होगे, आप फिजिकली कुछ नहीं कर सकते। वो चाहे आपकी फूड हैबिट है, वॉकिंग की है या एक्सरसाइज किया है या कुछ भी, जब तक आप मेंटली तौर पे स्ट्रांग नहीं होते, उसके लिए आपको टाइम लग सकता है 6 मंथ, 8 मंथ, 9 मंथ, 1 ईयर। आपने उसी पे फोकस रखना है कि हाँ मुझे ये करना है, करना है, करना है, मैं कर लूंगी। तो देन यू कैन डू अंटिल लाइक मैं अपना आपको अगर जो मैंने अपना प्लान लिया था डाइटिशियन से, उससे पहले मैं मई से शुरू हुई थी। वॉक करनी, थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल करना, रोटी नहीं खाई, ये नहीं किया, वो नहीं कर। मैं जब मेंटली तौर पे प्रिपेयर्ड हो गई, लकीली वो मुझे लेडी मिल गई, मैंने कहा यस आई कैन डू। और मैं ऐसी बंदी हूँ, खाने की इतनी शौकीन हूँ कि आप सोच नहीं सकते। और अभी भी समटाइम मैं हैरान होती मैंने कैसे कर लिया ये सारा। ओके, अगेन मेरा वेट गेन हो गया 3-4 kg। तो फिर मैं वापस मुझे अपने आप को फिर मेंटली तौर पे मुझे अपने आप को प्रिपेयर किया। पहले मैं जब यहाँ से स्टोर से घर जाती हूँ, मेरा बस जो भी हो मैंने खाना ही खाना है। अब मैंने इसको सॉल्व करने के लिए अब मैं क्या करके आती हूँ, सुबह जब मैं लंच बनाती हूँ तो साथ ही मैं डिनर भी बनाती हूँ, अपना हेल्दी डिनर बना के, क्योंकि मुझे पता मैं ये चीज नहीं अभी मैं कंट्रोल कर पाऊंगी कि मैं आकर बनाऊं तो फिर खाऊं। नो, तो उसका सोल्यूशन मैंने ये निकाला कि मैं बनाकर आ जाती हूँ, तो घर जब गया जाके आराम से मैंने वो अपना खा लिया। और रह गई एक्सरसाइज की, अब इट्स अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट एक्सरसाइज का। एक्सरसाइज का क्या हुआ है कि मेरे लिविंग रूम में बेंच पड़ा हुआ है, मैं ब्रूम कर रही होती हूँ, ब्रूम को साइड पर रख देती हूँ, वहां पे डंबल पड़े हुए हैं, मेरे पेट की एक्सरसाइज 5 मिनट मैं कर लेती हूँ। मेरी एक्सरसाइज होगी। ब्रूम को साइड पर रखा, पेट के किया, बेंच पे बैठी, सारा करके फारिग हो गया। तो ये छोटे छोटे टिप्स हैं कि इसको आप, अच्छा लेट्स सी अगर घर की डीप क्लीनिंग की मैं बात करूँ, अब डीप क्लीनिंग करनी है, कैसे करें, टाइम नहीं है ये। आपने डीप क्लीनिंग करनी है ना काउंटर का, तो काम कर रहे हैं ना, चलो जी सिर्फ काउंटर को डीप क्लीनिंग कर लेते हैं कुकिंग करते करते। बात ये होती है कि आप हर चीज को हवा ना बनाएं, उसको छोटा सा लें। जब हम लोग हवा इस चीज को स्वार कर लेते हैं, कैसे करेंगे, नहीं, हर चीज मुमकिन है। मेंटली तौर पे पहले आप प्रिपेयर्ड हो। आपके जो भी आपकी खामियां हैं, खूबियां, आपको खुद को अच्छे से पता है, कैसे उसको काबू करना ये भी आपने नहीं करना। किसी तलीम ने, किसी ने कुछ नहीं करना। फायदा होता है वही सुरजीत जी वाली बात है, हमें सारा पता है, हम सारे पढ़े लिखे हैं, इम्प्लीमेंटेशन कहाँ है। यही मैं आगे बात कर रही थी अपने रवैयों की भी, कि हम लोग इतना करते हैं, पढ़ते हैं, सुनते हैं, जब बारी आती है तू कौन है मैं कौन। ये चीजें, इन चीजों पे हमने कंट्रोल करना है। लिटरली इतनी बिजी लाइफ है, इतना कुछ करने के लिए है दिन में। अब मैं इसी ट्रेनिंग में मेरा ये थर्ड काम है जो मैं कर रही हूँ, मैंने आराम से बैठ के सारों को हेलो हाय किया, उसके बाद वॉल्यूम ऑन करके मैं सुनती रही, सारी स्टोर की क्लीनिंग की, ठीक है, करके अब मैं हाईवे पे हूँ, घर जा रही हूँ, रास्ते में मैंने सामान भी पिकअप करना है। तो दैट्स इट, इससे ज्यादा नहीं मैं कह सकती। आप लोग अपना कंटिन्यू करें। मेरा मकसद सिर्फ इस मेरे पॉइंट को अगर आप लोग अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं कि पहले आप मेंटली प्रिपेयर्ड हो, देन यू कैन डू एनीथिंग। थैंक यू।
Okay, thank you for that, Hafsa. So here's my take on this. Let's talk about our health for a moment. We make it like an uphill climb. Like I have to get healthy means I have to climb a mountain. It's difficult. So I have to push through it. I have to make myself like build myself up like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? It's such a big thing. And like we make it almost like it's a punishment that we have to put ourselves through so that on the other end, we come out happy. But what if we changed our approach? What if we said, let's get rid of the mountain? It's not an uphill climb to get healthy. What if we just have a leveled field and we're just walking a path? And as we're walking the path, we're going to see things that are going to serve our wellness, and we're going to see things that aren't going to serve our wellness. Now, I commend you, Hafsa, because you lost weight and you got healthy and everything. I also have lost weight. I've lost 60 pounds, guys. How did I do it? I had to change my mindset. It wasn't about forcing myself to do what I thought was right. It was about learning to love myself enough to choose for myself the things that would benefit me. If we make getting healthy about loving ourselves, then why would we choose something that wasn't unhealthy for us, right? Like if you have children, you're going to always want the best for your children, but why not the best for you? So if a cheeseburger is not the best for me, then maybe I don't want to live on cheeseburgers. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy them. I can have a cheeseburger, but that's not my diet and lifestyle, right? When we focus on making it so complicated and so difficult, then we are always looking for that back door so we can get out of this. Like we feel like we're captives. We put ourselves in, captivity, right? I can't do this. I'm a slave to my diet. I'm a slave to this. But what if we change our thinking around it? And it's not about, I have to do this because and don't make it any more than, this is what I choose for myself. When I eat this, I feel good. When I go for a walk, I feel good. When I eat a cheeseburger, yeah, I pay for it the next day, but every once in a while, I enjoy having it. That's okay. So if we change our approach, it's going to change our mindset. If we change our mindset to one that's supportive, then it's not always going to be about this struggle. Like, okay, it doesn't matter what you want. You have to put yourself through this because this is what you have to do to get healthy. We make it like it's a battle that we're having and there's an internal struggle, and it shouldn't be that. Life is meant to be enjoyed. Let's choose things for us that allow us to enjoy life, right? We can eat something unhealthy and enjoy that moment, but you know that if you continue to eat that way, it's going to take away your joy from your life. So when you think of it that way, then you don't want to continuously engage in an unhealthy diet. You're going to want to make healthier changes, and you do them because you love yourself. Same thing with working out. You work out because you know all of the benefits that the body has. Well, the body is the only place that we have to live. This life, this is where we're going to experience it, in this body. And if we don't take care of this body and we spend so much time in that struggle and just beating ourselves up, it's not only going to affect our physical health, but it's going to affect our mental health and our emotional health. And that's going to affect all of our relationships, right? And imagine all of that can be avoided if we just love ourselves and if we put self-care on the table. and we realize that self-care is important and it's a necessity. I mean, how many of you guys have ever taken an airplane, and the instructions that we get is if we have an emergency and the oxygen mask comes down, who do they tell you to put the oxygen mask on first? The child that's with you or the elderly relative that's with you? No, they say put it on yourself first, because if you don't take care of yourself, you can't help anyone else, regardless of what the relationship is. So we have to shift in the way that we think and take care of ourselves. We have to learn to put healthy boundaries in place. And it's not just about wanting to take care of your family, but it's about wanting to teach your family how to take care of themselves through the example that we set. We want to teach our sons that they have to be self-sufficient. We want to teach our daughters that self-care is important for them as well. We have to break these past cycles, guys, right? So all of these things are going to have to start with us, because again, there's no one else that we can control except ourselves, right? And no one else is going to take care of us and step up to take care of our wellness except for us.
Well, you're so right about all this. Give the responsibility. For example, I had 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
I told them what to do. For example, washing clothes. They had in their own room, one will wash his own clothing, put it in the dryer. The other one will wash his own. I have to do mine, my husband's, and the house thing, chaddar, gulaf, jo bhi hai, pillowcases and all this. And some of my friends say, सारा दिन मैं कपड़े धोंदी रहनी आ, 4-4 बारी मशीन चलांदी आ. Why don't you tell your children to do it?
Mm-hmm.
I really I never felt that I'm washing the clothes and all this, because he will do his own, he'll put in the dryer, he will do his own. Another day, they never fight for that. Ke mera kapde hai, he did it. Some other day he will do it.
Yeah.
And some of my friends say, "La 4-4 bari machine chalao." Then do that. Go for it. Spend extra money so kids can do their own.
Yeah.
That's how I had less stress over it. Ghar ka kaam, they will do it.
Yeah, that's excellent. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you.
So after they got married, their wives must be very happy that they can do these things by themselves. My husband does not know how to he never ran the machine, how to do those things. He never vacuumed the house. He doesn't want that. That is a man. All this is women's job, not man's job. Even if the woman works, even if the woman works, goes to school, come back, plan for this, do that, prepare for next day. But cooking is my job. Cleaning is my job. He won't know how to run the stuff. And I was happy. I never grumbled, why don't you do it? Happily, I'll do it. That's the way my life was. And even now when I'm by myself, I don't feel pressure. You guys are there, I wait for this, that I'll come and, sit down and watch what you talk, whoever is coming on Wednesday and coming on Friday. Then I attended another session for just before ours started, MWC's Arya Samaj. They start from 3 to 5:30. So I spend my time, I'm happy. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm. So, that's wonderful.
I think that makes my life easy.
Yes.
To live.
Yeah.
I don't have complaints for anybody that if somebody else, if I rented the place, maybe I don't like, then they are talking, I want to rest, and they are talking, what will I do? So I don't want to create that situation. That's why. Mm-hmm. I love to have friends come and visit me. I'll spend the whole day. But some days I want to be by myself. I
Yeah.
don't want anybody.
That's wonderful.
My
Good,
lifestyle.
good for you. Good for you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
Auntie
sharing.
Ji, you are a very big model for us.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
No,
I'm
really.
just satisfied with my life. Whatever I am doing, whatever I have done, I had pleasure of doing that, pleasure of completing that task, no matter for what. If I sang songs and did it in the mandars and raised the money, that is my satisfaction, and I didn't grumble for anybody. I still kept on doing what I had to do for home, for going to work, to take care of my children, and they are very respectful. They just love. I'm happy. They love their mom, their dad. They respect it. Never they said raised voice or said anything.
Mhm.
I tell you, it has never happened in my house. I hear from other people that the children, talk back and they do, well, you stopping us, so blah, 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 blah. They walk out of the house and all this, throw the things away that daddy said this and mommy said this. It never happened in my home. Even now, I just finished this thing. Even still, I have one son, one passed away a few years or 4 years ago. He calls every morning just to know, hi mom, how are you? To see my face. We don't talk anything. How are you? How was your day today? What did you do today? What are you doing today? What did you did yesterday? What did you do yesterday? 5 minutes, at the most 10 minutes. And I ask about him that you must be very busy at your work. He doesn't get time. He was here to visit just a month ago. He never had time to talk. In the room, I'm in the meeting. I'll make food and put in the plate in front of him. Here, whatever I think, I make it. He's not hungry, but then he'll finish. I'll go up and see he's finished it. I'll bring it back. Then I'll put something else. He never grumbles that mom hasn't looked after or something. He loves me. I love him too. Every mother loves the children, but he loves me, respects me very much. Yeah, I'm lucky.
Thank you for sharing.
And I have all of you friends, look at Uzma. I call her sometime in the night, 10 o'clock, whatever I wanted to ask. She never said, shut up and don't talk at this time, I'm resting. No, she still talks the same way as if it is evening time or morning time. No. And I feel happy the way she talks. Looks like that's another daughter for me here. And you guys too, you are wonderful. It's just pandemic and it's too bad that we don't have that. Soon we'll go to that building and gather together and have a party. We can have some Uzma, why can't we? I went to the dentist and whoever I went with, we went to the dosa place. The other day I went for another thing and, when I went for this eye surgery, the people who took me, let's go and eat somewhere. So you can put this and then you can sit on the table and let's have that get together, surprise in there, in the building. I'll go and get the key for you. I can drive up to there.
Auntie, the way you love us, we love you too. And because of that love, we want to have some distance still. Because I heard that school may close again.
Hi.
So we have to be very careful. So we decided, a Malton Women Council, that in 2021, we are not going to have any gathering. We will virtually or one-on-one, everybody's free. Like the other day I came to your place, anybody can come and visit you, but not as party or gathering. We are not taking any risk right now.
Okay. I'm waiting for that day. I'm waiting for that day. That was my feeling. Let us get together once and ha 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 he he. We can close the mouth and ha ha he he one day. It's too long. For almost 2 years we haven't met each other. Once or twice I saw you, but how about the other people, other friends?
We need to celebrate Raminderji's big day as well. We all wait for those moments, but just wait, put on hold. And I think we are in a session, so let's wrap up that session as well. People are watching on Facebook and they want to
Sorry.
say what's that. No, that's okay.
That's okay.
It's the way I have
that's
love
okay.
for all of you. Let us get together.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing.
I think Vidya wants to add something here as well.
Hi, Vidya.
Hello, everyone. Fozia ji, you surprise me every single time. Know that, right? And we talk for hours. But every time you open your mouth, something different comes and it's so valuable. I just want to treasure every single thing you say. You're just a remarkable person. And I have been, whatever you said, whatever points you chose, it feels like it's custom made for me. like my relationship with Multiple Women Council is, I just feel that it's for me. Everything Multiple Women Council is doing is just for me. I think many people might feel the same way. And I was really missing, being in touch because of the job, and I was doing some other stuff too. So I was really struggling with the time. And I especially made my schedule so that I can, have Fridays available for Multiple Women Council. I'm really happy. I was still late, but I'm really happy. So you said about so many things, self-care and this and that, and taking the risk. I don't know, somehow I was struggling with similar situations. I have a full-time job. It's great, good pay, everything is great. But somehow my soul satisfaction is always for the community working for. And this is when I joined Multiple Women Council, that's how I realized that this is what gives me actual happiness. This is what my sole purpose is. And because of the job, I felt I'm slightly away from my soul, my connection, or my satisfaction. I don't know, shall I look for the money and my bills and good life, or shall I just pursue my purpose, right? And the way Uzma ji has done the bold decision, I don't know, I'm still like too juvenile in this thing, but I really feel like sometimes you have to listen to your heart and take risk. If you feel that is right, then you should think about that. But other than that, procrastination, self-care, I was literally, I had no holidays, no weekends, and everything was really crazy. So sometimes it's okay not to do, it's just me at home, and I'm working on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays too. And I'm like 6:30, I wake up in the morning, do my laundry, grocery, this and this. Why? Ek hafta nahi kar liya, it's okay, right? It's not that dusty or these things. Like, nahi hue dishes, I'll do tomorrow. Why? We have set a frame that we have to do it. It's us. We blame others that you're not helping me, but I think we have a certain rules and regulation ki ye hona hi chahiye. It should be like this. So we are not kind enough for our own self. That's what you were saying. So I really loved whatever you said, and it just I don't know, it's so much. I think I don't know what to say. I'm just overwhelmed at the moment. Again, accepting. If we know there is a problem, we do not accept. We just complain. This is a problem. Ye hai, wo hai, wo hai. We do not accept. I have a problem. I'm struggling with this thing, and we are too pride to ask for help, right? So you said it wonderfully. अगर जैसे मेरा problem मैं बताती हूँ, बताना नहीं चाहिए live Facebook पे, and I somehow मैं देर करती नहीं, देर हो जाती है. So it's been a very long time. So I feel तो काम थोड़ा ज़्यादा हो रहा था, तो procrastinate हो रहा था. I really want to do it, but रात को 3 बजे तक काम कर सकते हैं, 4 बजे तक, 5 बजे तक, 6 बजे तक. But then you have to wake up at 7 o'clock. How you will manage that? So at a time वो नहीं हो पाता. Then I was really working कि then I felt कि नहीं, I have a problem that I am not able to manage the time. Maybe मैं prioritize चीजों को नहीं कर रही हूँ, मैं जितनी important चीज नहीं है चीजें उस पे कर रही हूँ, and I seek help, and this is working, right? Self care, अगर आप सो नहीं तो आपकी परफॉर्मेंस होगी ही नहीं. 1 घंटे का काम आप 4 घंटे करोगे, doesn't make sense. So self care, every single thing you said was just wow. And yes, I'm going to write it down. After I'm going to watch this session one more time on YouTube, write it down, make my notes and stick somewhere to follow it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. It means a lot.
Wow, so beautifully said, Vidya, and thank you so much for sharing. And you are absolutely right. Just like Uzma said, sometimes, you know what's best for you, right? Like there's these, this is what you do, and this will keep you happy, and this will keep you, but maybe that doesn't suit you. Maybe that doesn't give you the happiness. Maybe that doesn't give you the life that you want for yourself. You are responsible for designing that for yourself. So sometimes you're going to find yourself maybe in overwhelm. And like you said, you look at it and you figure it out. If it's still working for you, then great. If it's not working for you, then put some strategies in place to cope with it and to get the help that you need. But you yourself know what's best for you. It's like we say in rap, right? You're the one that knows what's best for you. No one else can come in and tell you what's the best for you. You have to decide that. And that's why before we make any changes to any habits or anything in our life, it's up to us to decide that we want the change and we're ready to make the change. Right? So beautifully said. Thank you so much for that share. And if you're going to watch the replay, #replay. Comment.
Fozia,
Yes.
people are asking me that what Vidya is talking about. So let me tell everybody. Today is 24th. The 23rd September 2013, I joined PCHS, and 8 years I was with them, and August 20th, I resigned from them because I had to choose something. So Baldevji is my ideal. I want to be like him. And to be like Baldevji, I need to make certain decisions. And I said, okay. And everybody was shocked because I just resigned from there. And now I am with Malton Women Council. All my energy, my passion is here, as well as I have some life projects. I'm doing that. So this is what people are asking. What Vidya is talking about.
That is amazing.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And congratulations on all your success that's coming towards you. And that's really what life is about, right? It's not about spreading ourselves so thin and keeping ourselves where we think we need to be, but it's about finding those moments and finding those things that give us pleasure and making time for the things that we want to do for ourselves. Yeah. And sometimes we have to make the hard decisions, and we have to walk away from things that we, a part of our heart is still there, but those tough decisions are really what will help us to design the life that's best for us.
Yeah, I always said कि Malton Women Council ने मुझे गोद लिया, PCHS ने मुझे चलना सिखाया. So now I think I'm big enough कि मैं कहूँ अभी थोड़े से गोद और चलने अब खुद चलूँ मैं थोड़ा सा अपना.
The training wheels are coming off.
Yes, yeah.
They have come off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you. Everybody's blessing.
Always.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, anyone else have anything else? Yes, go ahead.
We are waiting for the big name.
I just want to wish Uzma Baji. I know how difficult it might have been for you. I know your relationship with PCHS. So definitely it's a big decision, lifetime change, but we all wish you the best. Life is going to unfold beautifully and there will be magic everywhere. You are the best. So
thank you.
I'm just crossing my fingers and just waiting and watching ki kya hoga. अब उस्मा बाजी क्या करेगी, अब क्या लेके आएगी। जब पार्ट टाइम में ये आपने किया था तो फुल टाइम में जब आपका पूरा सोल तो था ही, जब पूरा टाइम डेडिकेशन पूरा एक ही जगह पे फोकस होगा तो क्या नजारा होगा। सो वी ऑल आर वाचिंग
बस
एंड
तैयार रहो, फिर काम करने
हम
के लिए
लोग
तैयार।
यस हम सारे तैयार हैं।
आई एम सो हैप्पी कि अब उस्मा बटी हुई नहीं है, अब 120% उस्मा MWC की है।
बिल्कुल।
So welcome my dear.
थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
खैर मुबारक हो। तो अब
सबका साथ है।
थोड़ा सा मुझे ये खुशी हुआ कि थोड़ा लाइफ में तुम्हारा स्ट्रेस कम हुआ एक तरफ से, राइट?
बिल्कुल।
तो ये चीज है।
So any other questions or comments?
Back to session.
I'm enjoying this conversation. So, you know, like I'm loving it. Go ahead, Vidya.
Okay, you were talking about mini habits. Can you just tell more about that?
Mini habits? Yeah, absolutely. So if there's something that you want to change, like you want to make a big change in your life, and that is something that requires big commitment, right? So let's just take our health, for example, okay? So if you say you want to lose 20 pounds, I don't know, right? Not that you need to lose weight, so just it's a hypothetical, okay? So let's say you want to lose 20 pounds. And you say, all right, that's it. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to exercise every day, and I'm going to only eat clean, right? So we say those things, but what does that actually look like in your life? What do you need to put in place to support that, to be, you know, that habit of working out every day? So I gave the example of if you decide that you want to work out every morning before breakfast, like be specific, right? With our goals, right? And the more specific you are, the easier you take the question. Like it's easier because you take the questioning out of what needs to be done, right? So you say, all right, I'm going to exercise. Okay, but when are you exercising? What are you going to do to exercise? How long are you exercising for? What does that look like? Like if we're specific, then our mind doesn't have a chance to talk us out of it. So that's why I gave the example of like, if you make a set a goal for yourself, I want to work out every morning before breakfast. Okay. So what can you do to support that? Because that's a big thing to say, and that takes commitment, because you might want to wake up one day and say, I don't feel like working out, right? So what does it look like? That's why I said maybe get into the habit of going to bed earlier and waking up earlier, because if you wake up just enough time to get up and get going for work, you're not going to be able to work out before breakfast. So you have to give yourself the time. So you go to bed earlier so you can get up earlier so you can fit in the workout. Then what else does that look like? Okay, so maybe when you get up in the morning, if the clothes that you're going to wear to work out are already laid out for you, then you take the questioning out of it. I'm not scrambling through my drawers looking for a t-shirt, right? It's already there. Then maybe you have your yoga mat in place. Maybe you're doing weights, so you have the weights in place. Maybe you're going to go for a walk, so you have your running shoes in place. But when you get up the next morning and you see those things, even if you don't feel like it, you're going to have that feeling of like, I should work out because everything is right there, right? So those things that you put in place to support that big habit, those are the mini habits. Does that answer the question?
Yes, you did. I think I didn't know, but unknowingly, I just started whatever you said. It's actually happening. Every single thing. I am trying to lose weight, and I didn't know that I am doing this. But yes, I do exercise, meditate, and yoga every single day, and I am doing diet too. I don't know you can see the difference in me or not, but yes, but I have made one commitment. No matter what happens, I'm not going to skip that. It's Sunday, Monday, whatever day. Because one day, okay, it's Sunday, aaj main nahi karungi. It becomes one day, then 2 days, then it becomes week, then it becomes months. So I'm saying no matter what, I'm feeling well, I'm not feeling well, I'll do for less time, but no matter what, I'll do it. Meditation for my brain health, exercise for my health, and some good things for my emotionally, mental, and physical health, everything.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Absolutely. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
So I'm trying that. It was difficult in the beginning because you have to have like extra like half an hour, 1 hour. So it's a long time. So it is compromising on your sleep too. But no matter what, you have to do it. There's no excuse. And we have to be a bit strict, and results are really good. Like especially it's not only for your physics, for your brain and your emotions too.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how do you feel now that you're doing it regularly?
Wow, I think I feel I'm more disciplined and determined, and I feel like I can do it.
Yeah.
And it was just a task, but giving me a confidence that if I decide, it is it sounds like scary, oh, itna karna ye, but if I decide, I can do it. So it's giving me a confidence that if I can do something else too, not only exercise, I can challenge myself and I can do it. So I am less scared, I guess now, more confident, less scared.
Yeah, so that's really amazing, Vidya. And so now when you want to add on to that, so there's a thing called habit stacking. And so habit stacking really is you have these specific habits in place and you can add one more thing to it, right? But if we want to make like a lot of changes all at once, then it's difficult. So you've established this. Now the way that you do it, it's a routine. Once it becomes a routine, Vidya, and you do it every day, once it becomes a routine, when you don't do it, then you're going to feel like something is off. I didn't do something today. And even if you're aware, like I didn't do my routine, it's going to be like something is off. It's going to affect your energy for the whole day because you're so, you're so committed to that routine. And that routine is what keeps you consistent, right? So the routines that we set are really made up of all these little mini habits that support the larger habit that we want to establish and implement in our life. So now when you, for example, like you're saying you do like a physical workout, say you weren't doing your mental workout for your brain exercises, but now you wanted to add that on, you could really easily say, all right, after I do this, I'm going to immediately go into this workout. And that's just kind of stacking one habit in with the other ones. And it just becomes part of the routine as opposed to trying to create a whole new routine.
Wow, I'll try that.
Yeah. So any other questions? How are we doing? Everyone's okay?
Sorry. Okay, Fozia ji, एक क्वेश्चन है. पता नहीं क्वेश्चन है, पता नहीं थॉट है, बट मैं शेयर करूंगी, राइट? जे अलाउ करोगे ਤੁਸੀਂ. ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਬੰਦਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਪੈਸਿਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਲਾਈਕ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ, ਸਿੰਗਰਸ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਕਈ ਸਿੰਗਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੇ ਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਲਾਈਕ ਪੂਰਾ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਪੂਰਾ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਹਾਰਟ ਅਟੈਕ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ. ਬਟ ਆਈ ਫੀਲ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਕੰਪੈਸ਼ਨ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਬਟ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਨੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੱਕ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕਪੈਸਿਟੀ ਇੰਨੀ ਹੋਈ ਆ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਗਿਰਦੇ ਆ. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੰਪੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਕੰਟਰੋਲ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਤਰੀਕਾ ਹੈ?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking. How to control compassion?
Huh. Yes.
Like what in what context? Like I'm not understanding.
Okay. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ okay, ਕੋਈ ਵੱਡੀ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ CEO ਨੇ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਠੀਕ ਹੈ. They're writing funding or they're doing too much work.
Okay, like that one individual is doing too much work?
कोई भी ला लो.
Or the individual. No, are you talking about the individual?
One person ਜਿਹਦਾ compassion ਆ, ਉਹ ਹਾਈ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੇ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣ ਦਾ।
Okay.
ਤੇ ਬਟ ਹੈਲਥ ਵਾਈਜ਼ ਉਹ ਪਰਸਨ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਡਾਊਨ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ।
Okay.
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਕੰਪੈਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਜੋ ਉਹ ਜ਼ੋਰ ਲਗਾ ਰਿਹਾ
For the work.
ਹਾਂ,
Okay.
ਉਹ ਰੁਕਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ
Okay.
ਲਾਈਕ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਪੈਸਿਟੀ ਤੋਂ ਓਵਰ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ।
Okay. I understand.
ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਟਾਪ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ, ਲਾਈਕ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸਟਾਪ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਕੰਟੀਨਿਊਸਲੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਆ।
Okay, so Surjit, let me give you an example, okay? We're mothers, right? And हम अपने बच्चों के लिए जो हम कर सकते हैं हम करेंगे, right? But to what extent will you do it? See, we have the habit of doing it to the extent that it costs us our own health. That's the same thing. You can be so, passionate about your job that you do it 24/7 because it doesn't feel like a job. Maybe you're that passionate.
Yes.
But you're neglecting your health. So eventually you're going to experience burnout, right? We have to understand this all goes back to the importance of self-care. And if you're doing your job 24/7 and you're not taking care of yourself, the work that you're putting out is going to be less, it's going to lose the quality of the work because your mental capacity isn't going to be as sharp as it was, right? So
no, but it wouldn't we lose the quality of work?
Yeah, because I can't focus if I'm not taking care of my health. It's going to affect my thought process. It's going to affect, I'm going to have brain fog. I'm not going to be able to make very good decisions, right? We don't understand that. Like, how many parents do for their kids to the point of exhaustion, and then the kids want more, and hum mur ke unko gussa karte hain. Like, we lose our temper. Why do we lose our temper? Because we're beyond the capacity, right? We have to take care of ourselves taki hum us point pe na pahunche. That's my point. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
हाँ, but उस point ते ना पहुंच सकिए, right? But पहुंच जानते हैं। I don't know.
But I'm okay. I need you to be more clear.
Okay. So मैं अपनी एग्जांपल देती हूँ।
Okay.
Okay, मैं कुछ करना चाहती हूँ, राइट? मेरी वो कैपेसिटी नहीं है, ठीक है? लेकिन मैं करना चाहती हूँ, तो वो मेरी रुकदी नहीं है।
Okay.
ठीक है, कंटिन्यूसली कर रही हूँ। ते एनी वो कम ये नहीं करना चाहती कि मैनू कोई ओदा बेनिफिट हो रहा, ठीक है? ते वो मेरे अंदरों हो रहा काम, बट बिकॉज मेरी कैपेसिटी है नहीं, मैनू ये रियलाइज हो रहा कि रब रोक रहा, जो अपन साइन सिम्पटम्स आने लग जान, है ना, रब रोक रहा कि तेरी कैपेसिटी इन्नी हुई, राइट? बट द अदर हैंड आप सुनते हैं बिल पावर, ओके, कि नहीं आप जिथे जाना चाहते हैं जा सकते हैं, ठीक है? ते उत्थे मैनू एक अपनी बिल पावर, एक रब च विश्वास, राइट? दो चीज़ां दे विच लाइक केड़ी चीज बेटर आ कि बिल पावर नू कंटिन्यूसली रखिए, जां ओके आप अंडरस्टैंड कर लिया कि हुण साडी कैपेसिटी नहीं है, रब ने सानू इत्थे ही रखना है, राइट? कि वो लाइन क्रॉस ना करिए।
Okay.
ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰੁਕ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਪਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਇਹਦੇ
Okay.
ਬਾਰੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ
So a couple of things I want to ask you. अगर आप वैसे continue करती जाएं, तो उसका outcome क्या होगा?
उसका आउटकम क्या होगा
If you ignore the signs,
मर जाऊंगी
if-
मर जाऊंगी
You want to add something, Usma? I see you. Like, yeah, go ahead.
तो सुरजीत जी, एक खास पॉइंट पे आके हमें लगता है कि हम इससे ज्यादा नहीं कर सकते।
हाँ
हम अपनी विल पावर को और नहीं लेके जाएंगे, क्योंकि उसके बाद मैं अगर जागती हूँ तो मुझे एक टाइम ऐसा चाहिए जिसमें मैंने सोना ही सोना है। ठीक है, वो 10 मिनट 15 मिनट घंटा 2 घंटा वो फोन बंद, मुझे वो टाइम चाहिए। उससे ज्यादा मैं करूंगी तो मैं कोलैप्स हो जाऊंगी। उससे पहले आई लिसन टू माई सेल्फ, आई नीड टू ड्रॉ दैट लाइन, क्योंकि मेरी, जैसे फौजिया बार बार कहती हैं, हमें ऑक्सीजन देनी है खुद को। मैं कोलैप्स होती हूँ तो मेरे से जुड़े कितने लोग हैं, मुझे उनका सोचना है। ठीक है, तो उस वक्त जो मेरा कंपैशन है टुवर्ड्स देम, टू सेव माय ओन सेल्फ फर्स्ट, अगर मैं ठीक होंगी तो मैं उनका ख्याल रख सकूंगी। अगर मैं दिन रात एक काम किए जा रही हूँ और मेरे अंदर से कि नहीं मैंने इसकी भी हेल्प करनी है, मैंने इसकी भी करनी है, 25, 35, 45, कहीं जाके मुझे लगेगा नहीं मैं 46% से आज फोन पे बात नहीं करूंगी, दैट्स अनफ। और हमारी बॉडी, हमारा माइंड सब बता देता है। फिर गॉड विल भी ये होती है कि अब बस कर दो, आज के लिए इतना बहुत है। सो जो फौजिया कह रही हैं कि उस लाइन पे जाने से पहले सिम्टम्स तो आ रहे हैं ना, इंडिकेटर्स होते हैं। हम जब रोड पे गाड़ी चलाते हैं इंडिकेटर्स नजर आ रहे हैं, हैजर्ड लाइट्स ऑन होती हैं, हम अटेंशन नहीं पे कर रहे होते। तो इसी तरह हमारे अंदर भी वो हैजर्ड लाइट शुरू हो जाती है। हम चिड़चिड़े हो रहे हैं, हम थक रहे हैं, हम उस क्वालिटी का काम प्रोड्यूस नहीं कर रहे। क्या होता है, उठा के साइड पे फेंका, यार अभी नहीं करना, अभी नहीं देखना, अभी इससे। जब हम वो मजा, वो नशा खो रहे हो उस काम का, इसका मतलब है स्टेप बैक। कितनी दफा कहते हैं कि यू नीड टू स्टेप बैक टू मूव फॉरवर्ड। ये बहुत जरूरी है लर्न करना।
ओके उस्मा जी, लाइक काफी अच्छा ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਡਿਟੇਲ ਚ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਬਟ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਖੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੋ ਰਿਹਾ, ਸਿਹਤ ਆਪਣੀ ਡਾਊਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਡਿਜ਼ਾਇਰ ਉਹ ਉਹੀ ਹੈ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਤੇ
So can I add something? Sometimes we get so caught up in we have to give 100% all the time. And we get caught up at what that 100% looks like. But there's days where my 100% is maybe 35%. And then there's other days where my 100% looks like 110%. But doing the best that you can in that moment or on that day, that's all you can do. Pushing yourself more than what your capacity is, that's like Usma saying, you know, we get the signals. Imagine you're driving on the highway and the lane is ending. You keep getting those signs that the lane that you're in is ending. And if you ignore those signs, you're going to get to a point where you have no more road to drive on, and you're going to be on the shoulder. And that's what burnout is. You can't go anymore. You just stop. And then what happens? Then you need to take more time because you have to recover and recuperate. And then you're going to change your approach. But what I'm saying is, if we start to recognize the signs before that happens, we're able to continue with what we enjoy doing, at the same time taking care of ourselves so that we can show up to do what we enjoy doing.
So सुरजीत जी, जो आपने कहा कि नशा नहीं टूट रहा, राइट, वो करने का नशा। सो ऐसे करें कि एक कप चाय की जगह वो एक घूंट में नशा पूरा करें। उस वक्त उसको थोड़ा थोड़ा कम करें। नशा होना चाहिए, मिलना चाहिए, ठीक है, वो डोज मिलनी चाहिए किसी के लिए कुछ करने की। ठीक है, मैं कर रही हूँ, क्योंकि वो अंदर से है ना कि मैंने करना है, तो वो 10 की जगह आप 8 पे आ जाए, आप 6 पे आ जाए, क्योंकि उनके लिए करते हुए आपने अपने लिए भी तो कुछ करना है। तो अगर 10 की जगह आप 8 पे आ रही हैं, तो वो जो 2 है वो आप अपने लिए कर रही हैं। ठीक है, आई नो कि बहुत मुश्किल होता है, मैं खुद इससे गुजरती रहती हूँ, आई नो दैट।
As of it's difficult. It's easy to talk about it, but it's
Exactly.
difficult to implement, and to stay committed to that is difficult.
Your passion is there and it's coming within, और आपको करना है कि नहीं यार मैं थकी हूं तो क्या हुआ, ठीक है, इट्स ओके, मैं एक कॉल और अटेंड कर लूं, मैं एक क्लाइंट को, और अगर किसी की मैं बात सुन के उसको अच्छा लग रहा है तो इट्स ओके। हम ऐसे करते हैं ना, कितनी दफा हम ऐसे करते हैं, बट वो ओके ओके नहीं होता ना हमारे अपने साथ, क्योंकि फिर एक वक्त ऐसा आएगा कि आप कहेंगी नहीं मुझे अब ब्रेक चाहिए, मैंने कोई फोन पिक नहीं करना, मैंने किसी से बात नहीं करनी, मैं अपने आप के साथ वेकेशन जा रही हूँ कुछ अरसे की। ये होता है। सो आई होप कि उससे पहले हम वो डिसीजंस ले लें अपने आप को सेव करने का, क्योंकि बात अपनी सेफ्टी की है, अपनी हेल्थ की है। मुझे पता है ये जो मैं बात कर रही हूँ
नहीं बिल्कुल सही है उज़मा जी एंड फौजिया जी, व्हाट आई टेक अवे फ्रॉम बोथ ऑफ यू कि ਜਿਹੜੀ ਵਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਆ ਹਨਾ, ਆਪਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਵਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਨੂੰ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਰੱਬ ਇੱਕ ਏਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਟਾਪ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਈਨ ਮਿਲਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਬਟ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਵਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਆ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ, ਕਿ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੀ ਕੀ ਜੌਬ ਮਿਲੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਉਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਸਟਾਪ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ, ਬਟ ਆਈ ਟਿਕ
I think you have to yeah, sorry. I think you really have to respect what your body is telling you, because it's those signs. I mean, the body doesn't have a voice to say, okay, we need to stop. The way the body communicates with us is all of these signs that we're going to get in our physical health. When these signs that we get when we feel that our mental health is starting to break down, these are signs. This is already past the point of when we should have listened to our body. All right? We have to pay attention, because that information that we're getting from ourselves, that's what needs to guide us when we can continue and when we need to take a break. The thought of like, I don't want to stop because I really love what I'm doing and I can do so much good and I can do so much work and I have all these plans. Yes, those are all there, but it's important for you to respect yourself first, respect yourself and respect your body and respect your mind enough to know when you need to stop. And like Uzma said, sometimes walking away and taking a break is the best thing that you can do, so tomorrow you can come back even stronger.
So there is another example. I'm on a highway and somebody FaceTime me. I'm not going to pick up the phone, though I want to talk to that person. Alternate क्या है कि मैं कॉल कर लूंगी, बात कर लेंगे ना। हमें खुद देखना है कि हमारी सेफ्टी किधर है, कहाँ हम किसकी कितनी हेल्प कर सकते हैं। हमारा दिल करता है हम करें, हम, क्योंकि हम लोग सोशल सर्विस सेक्टर में आए इसलिए हैं कि हमारे अंदर वो है, वरना हम कॉर्पोरेट सेक्टर में हो। हम सबको पता है कि इस सेक्टर में पैसे नहीं है और इसमें काम बहुत है 24/7, क्योंकि आप सोशल, मेरा जो सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन था हर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में वो ये है, कैसे आप कह सकते हो कि जो सोशल वर्क है वो 9 to 5 है। नीड इज देयर 24/7। हमारे पास वो होनी चाहिए एक्सेस है। इफ आई वांट टू डू समथिंग, मुझे घड़ी नहीं देखनी पड़े, मैंने 9 o'clock स्टार्ट करना, वो हम सबके अंदर है ना। लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं अगर उन्होंने रखे कि ये टाइमिंग्स हैं, क्या उसमें कहीं ना कहीं वो है कि अपने आप को सुनो, अपने आप को टाइम दो, चाहे वो सो के हो, चाहे वो गाने सुन के हो, चाहे वो वॉक करके हो, अपने आप को टाइम देना। वो बहुत जरूरी है। नहीं तो सुरजीत जी हम लोगों की आगे नहीं कर सकेंगे हेल्प। हमारा पैशन होगा लेकिन हम नहीं कर सकेंगे, हम कहीं ना कहीं अंदर से टूट रहे होंगे, थक रहे होंगे। वो बहुत जरूरी है। तो वो आई थिंक कि हम सबको उसका ख्याल रखना चाहिए।
Very well said, Osma. I'm going to add one thing to that. We were never meant to put someone else or something else before our own life. Think about that. No one else's life goes before our own. We have to take care of ourselves and make sure that when we show up ready to show up. We can't show up if we're not ready to show up. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not going to be ready to show up. And that's not fair to us, and it's not fair to the people that we're pretending to show up for.
एंड फौजिया, हमारे उसमें ये कहा जाता है ना कि अल्लाह ताला आपको उतना बोझ देता है जितना आप उठा सकते हो।
Yes.
तो जब आपको लग रहा है कि नहीं ये बोझ काफी है, तो फिर और ना कहो कि और भी उठा लूंगा, और भी उठा लूंगा।
Yeah.
वो उतना ही देता है
Yes.
जितना एक शख्स उठा सकता है। सुनना
Yeah.
चाहिए
Not
सारे।
even, yeah, not the weight of a mustard seed more.
Yeah.
That's literally what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So you still have something inside you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਸਟਕ ਜੀ ਵਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਐਂਡ ਜੋ ਆਪਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਅੱਲਾਹ ਤਾਲਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਾਂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਉਨਾ ਹੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਰੱਖਦਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਹੂੰਗੀ ਸਿੱਧੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਆ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਦੂਜੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਭ ਨੇ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ, ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਵੀ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਚ ਵਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਹੈਗੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਕਰ ਦਾਂਗੇ, ਉਹ ਕਰ ਦਾਂਗੇ। ਲਾਈਕ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਈਨ ਸਿੰਪਟਮ ਮਿਲਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਣ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਵਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਨੂੰ ਭੁੱਲਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਇਹ ਮੇਰਾ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ।
Never at the risk of your health, Surjichi. Never at the risk of your health. Never at the risk of your physical or your mental health. At the risk of your well-being, no. We're not meant to do that. We're not meant to sacrifice our well-being for something else.
Yeah,
our responsibility is our well-being first, so that we can show up for all of the other responsibilities that we have or that we want to take on. But sacrificing our well-being for the passion that you have for something else, it never ends well.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, Fajiri. Yeah, thank you.
It's almost 8:45 now.
Yeah, Raminderji is waving. Congratulations, by the way, Raminderji. So happy for you.
नहीं, काफी आपके लिए मुझे पता है कि यू आर टायर्ड, सारा दिन भी आप बिजी रहती हैं। थैंक यू सो मच फॉर जॉइनिंग अस।
आधा घंटा हीटिंग पर लेके लेट के फिर मैं ज्वाइन किया
जी। हमारे आगे एग्जांपल है रमिंदर जी की, बिकॉज शी वाज टायर्ड, थोड़ा सा रेस्ट किया, अब वो फिर टायर्ड हो रही है। विल पावर पे ज्यादा देर नहीं और बैठेंगी।
Yeah, and she's waving. She's waving like she's about to log. She's about to be out of here. Yeah.
विल पावर है काफी।
Yeah.
हाँ जी बिल्कुल है।
Any other questions? Hope you guys found this helpful.
Yeah, very much for you.
लोका जी नहीं आ रहे, ठीक है उमा
जी?
लोका जी ठीक है, मैं क्या आ नहीं रही।
हाँ जी, वो बिजी हैं थोड़ी।
हाँ, लास्ट वीक में आए
जी।
सत श्री अकाल रविंदर जी।
सत श्री अकाल जी।
Okay.
आरती हैं ब्लैक गॉगल्स
रमिंदर जी, मोइनी आंटी पार्टी का इंतजार कर रही हैं आपकी।
या
ने कदों हालात ठीक होने 1.5 साल हो गया सच्ची
I know.
ना तो उत्थे गए सी ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੂਮਨ ਡੇ ਤੇ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਉੱਥੇ ਗਏ
So Fozia, thank you so much. All these techniques,
My pleasure.
I hope कि हम लोग कुछ ना कुछ कहीं ना कहीं इसको अप्लाई करें। और सुरजीत जी, आपने तो लिख के रखा हुआ है।
हाँ नहीं, मैं तो फौजिया जी दी वेरी वेरी थैंकफुल हूँ कि मेरिया कुछ हैबिट्स इदां दियां ने है ना, चेंज करनियां मुश्किल ने, तो मैं जेड़ा लिख के रखा होया इत्थे लगाया होया हमेशा। तैनूं मैं रीसेंट एग्जांपल जेड़ी दित्ती सीगी पहला है ना, कि जेड़ी कल दी सिचुएशन सीगी वो बड़ी बड़ी सीगी है ना, काइंड ऑफ एमरजेंसी, ते ओदे चों भी निकल के आ जेड़ी फौजिया जी दी स्ट्रैटेजी दसी हुई है ना, कि मैं लाइक नॉर्मल अपनी लाइफ दे विच आ गई है ना, बहुत ज्यादा अपने उत्ते असर नहीं होने दिता। कि फौजिया जी, मेरा कहने का मतलब ये है तुहानू कि मैं कैच इट ते पहुंची पहला है ना, कि मैनू रियलाइज होया कि मैं हुण इत्थे स्टॉप करना है। ओके, ते फिर ओनू चेक भी किया कि क्यों जरूरी है स्टॉप करना, क्योंकि मैं मेंटली थोड़ा जिहा लाइक काम सारे पे ने है ना, कर कुछ नहीं सकती, फोन ते कदे ओनू फोन कर कदे ओनू फोन कर,
Right.
कंटिन्यूसली ये चल रहा सारा कुछ। बट लेकिन फिर थोड़ा ਜਦੋਂ मैं कंप्यूटर को आई सी किसी काम दी खातर ए चीज नू देखिया ना, बस स्टॉप,
Good for you.
then change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. And it just takes practice, Suchichi. You'll get there. It'll be easier every time you do it.
Yeah, thank you so much. ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਟੇਜੀਜ਼ ਬਹੁਤ ਅੱਛੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮਪਲ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਨਾ, ਲਾਈਕ ਮੈਂ ਕਈ ਸਿੰਗਰਸ ਦੇਖੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੇ, ਸੌਰੀ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੈਂ ਆਊਟ ਆਫ ਟਰੈਕ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਹਨਾ, ਵੀ ਸਟੇਜ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਡੈਥ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਹੁਣ ਜਾਂ ਰਾਈਟਰਸ ਨੇ ਜਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗਾਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਹਨਾ, ਉਹ ਬੜਾ ਦਿਲੋਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਰਾਈਟ, ਬਟ ਕੁਛ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥ 'ਚ ਵੀ ਰੱਖੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਚਲਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਲਈ। ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਪਤਾ ਸਾਈਨ ਸਿੰਪਟਮਸ ਉਹੀ ਉਜ਼ਮਾ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਐਕਸਪਲੇਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਜਦੋਂ ਸਾਈਨ ਸਿੰਪਟਮਸ ਆਉਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਹਨਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਰੁਕ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ। ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ, ਨਹੀਂ ਡਜ਼ਨਟ ਮੈਟਰ, ਕੁਛ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਚ ਬਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ 90 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ 'ਚ ਬਿਲ ਪਾਵਰ ਹੈਗੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ ਹਨਾ, ਵੀ ਲਾਈਕ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ। ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਰ-ਬਾਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ। ਬਟ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਰਿਹਾ।
You just have to keep practicing it, and always remember, like, I mean, you're going to see and hear a lot of examples of people pushing through and doing things, and you think like it's willpower, but each of us has our own level of capacity. Like, each of us is capable of our own 100%, and 100% doesn't literally mean it has to be that top of the bar 100%. 100% is really the best effort that you can do that in that moment or in that day. And if we can really accept that, then that supports our well-being, because we can go and we can give it our best effort, and then we can leave saying, yes, I gave it my best effort for today, and tomorrow I'll go back and maybe my best effort will be a little bit more, and maybe the next day my best effort will be a little bit less. But we have to first accept that. And when we are so critical when we see someone else that's pushing themselves and pushing them. Don't you say, take it easy? We give other people that advice. Okay, maybe you need to take a break. Why don't you take it easy? But when it comes to ourselves, it's something that, you know, we don't think of, and we keep pushing ourselves. That's not a healthy way. Those are not healthy habits. We have to change our habits so that our habits support our wellness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much, everyone. It's